So to start us off with the day, we have Gertrud joining from European Commission, and she will speak especially about, how is the Commission, the heart of Europe, going digital and making use of data. And while you come on stage, I'll just say 2 words about the background. So as people come on, we will be showing small clips and bits and pieces of videos about the country. So as we are data-driven, we'll show data about the country. And I know that you come from Sweden, actually. But as you now live in Belgium, then we thought, what the hell? And now we will see a bit about Belgium. All right.
Nice opening. So, and back to my little dog. I'll come back to my little dog here in a while. So, in the real world out there, we have machines talking to each other, machines talking back at us. We have our fridge telling us when we need to buy milk. We have a virtual assistant organizing our day and booking tickets for us. How do we correspond to that? How do we relate to that in a complex organization? The opportunities out there are the Internet of Things and machine learning, and the threats are cyber threats, of course, and budget cuts. We all have budget cuts. So how do we respond to that? I'm in charge of a big IT organization, very complex. In my case, it's the European Commission. How do you even start dealing with this in an organization that is quite old-fashioned and traditional and has not really kept up with the development? So the European Commission is organized like many other organizations in terms of IT. We're very decentralized. We have distributed spending and development. 70% of our budget is spent locally, and only 30% is spent centrally with our IT organization. This means that, of course, we have a lot of siloed systems that do not speak to each other. We have, for example, those of you who work towards the Commission, you know that, for example, the tax systems and the employment systems do not speak to each other. You have different systems to exchange data with the Commission for different areas. That is one of the consequences. And of course, we cannot make use of the data between the systems either. Of course, you know the syndrome as well. Our different departments say we are special, our clients are happy, and we have the money. Plus, often they do not know what is available in other systems, and this is one of the challenges we have. This, of course, has an impact on member states as well. For example, you have those who have been in touch with the Commission for grants, research grants, know that some years ago, you had to contact each department separately if you were interested in a grant. Now, since the beginning of Horizon 2020, the current program, you have one single system that goes across all the different domains. So you get in contact with the Commission once, and you can follow through the whole process. And that is one good example of how we can go forward. But this is only one example. We're working on the other domains. Also, as we are very siloed, data does not speak to each other across the organization. We have low level of interoperability between different data sources. So that really hinders us. We have, for example, grants, the grant system I mentioned, and e-procurement, where we have similar processes. You have make a proposal, you are evaluated, you get a contract, and then you deliver something. These two systems are built on different principles. Grants is coming from coordination of the organizations that were working, the departments that were working on grants. So a sort of best compromise and coordination between the systems that existed. whereas e-procurement is building on open source and building blocks provided to member states. So there we have a completely different starting point. Now we have to make these systems talk to each other so that we have a unified process for anybody, any economic operator who is in contact with the Commission. So this is one of the challenges we're working on to federate and make data available across domains. Another problem with data is that we receive huge amounts of data that we cannot really treat. For example, public consultations. We are increasing the number of public consultations. A couple of years ago, we got about 1,000 replies to public consultation. Now we have more than 10,000 for each consultation. And this is of course, a challenge. Also, like most other organizations, it's difficult to keep up the pace when developing IT systems. We have legacy systems, and Estonia is famous for doing something about that. We were here yesterday also to talk to our Estonian colleagues to see how do they deal with that. And we understand there is an assessment system that can help us in looking at when does a system have to be considered legacy and needs to be redone. We have increased security threats. We had three times more cyber attacks in 2015 than in 2014, probably because we have better tools as well, but it's one of the big threats we have. So what is the recipe in this situation? We are challenged, IT is challenged in the Commission to change the way we work. There's good news in that because there's a lot of expectation, and there's a readiness to use IT in a different way than it's been done before. So there are a lot of expectations on us, and mostly this is very good news. That has made it possible for us to come up with an action plan and think that we can really do something. The main principles are operational simplicity, that we need to work with business on the processes. We cannot digitize our old processes because that doesn't make sense. The working culture, how do we work together? How do people act in the system and in the organization? And this is because IT is mostly about people in the end. It's not about technology, it's about the people, both at the end users and the people who work with IT. Data and cloud are the opportunities that we have to use as opportunities. How do we use that to our best in our best interest? So we took a look as well at other large organizations across the world. And we noticed that the challenges are the same in most of them, those we've talked to. We talked to the World Bank. They have the same situation, similar challenges. They have been faster. What we see is the change. The difference there is they are transforming more fast towards cloud, and that is something that we're struggling with. How do we go to cloud? How secure is it? I know that many of you are as well because we discuss it a lot. So how far do we need to go? Fast and far do we dare go with cloud? The World Bank solved that by a very clear classification policy that allows them to take the right decisions at the right time as to what goes to cloud and what stays more on-premise. We also saw, by the way, in an aside, we went to the Silicon Valley a month ago to talk to companies, and they are, compared to a few years ago, they are much more nuanced in their view of cloud as well. What do you take to the cloud, and how can you work on hybrid solutions in the best fashion? So that's also very interesting. We talked to the CIO, Tony Scott, of the United States government. He also has the same situation. They also have the same situation of big legacy system. 75% of their budget goes into maintaining and operating legacy. So they are struggling with the same issue, but they had a major security breach on the IT side a couple of years ago, and that launched them into a new program. And they're reviewing the whole governance and the information system setup. We also talked in the United States with the information sharing environment, which is a body that was set up by President Obama after the 9/11 attacks in order to exchange information better between the institutions like the FBI, the police department, CIA, etc. And the interesting thing they were talking about was back to people. They said that they, instead of connecting, but they do connect IT as well, systems, but they concentrate on the people. They put the people from different angles of a situation together to solve the problem. And that's how they find the best solutions. In the context of interoperability, which is one of our sectors in my organization, the Interoperability Solutions for Member States, ISA, you have the stand outside as well, please visit it. We're also working on an interoperability framework at European level. And just as an aside, with the international organizations, we are very close in that to what they are doing, the framework they have in the United States, exactly the information sharing environment, and also Japan. So we're going in the same direction. I will come back to the European interoperability framework in a little while as well. So how do we work on this in practice then in the Commission? We had the challenges, and I told you that we are now expected to do something about it. There's a great interest in it. So we did a huge business case last year. We studied different areas. What can we do? What is reasonable to do? And how do we take this forward? And this, we've been discussing this also with all the directors general in the Commission. And this has now gone through to the decision level. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to, this is called the, by the way, Synergies and Efficiencies Review, which was launched by Vice President Georgieva last year. How can the Commission become more efficient? And here IT has a big part. So we will challenge the way we build systems, of course. We will work with business on the processes, so transform the business processes to start with, and then build easy-to-use systems that are used for both internal staff and for citizens and organizations. We have, for example, one example is, I mentioned before, the grants and the procurement systems. We're now also doing something called CEDIA. It's actually legal obligations. It's not something we dreamed up last year. CEDIA is a single interface for any economic operator with the Commission. So it will link the two grants, procurement systems, and other systems as well. We'll provide one interface, one-stop shop for one's only registration with the Commission. A dream a few years ago. We're going to build faster and more agile IT through a toolbox with building blocks like e-signature, e-procurement, e-ID. And we will have an architecture blueprint, which is based on building blocks. So we will have a common set of tools with a high level of services around them. Services, I think, is a very important part of the blocks. If you don't have that, components as such are not so easy to reuse. That becomes quite expensive. Then we want to make data work for better policy making. So analytics to be able to process all the data that we get through public consultations, for example. And also, for example, when we check the legal transposition of regulation in the member states, of the legislation in the member states, how do we do that? We have a lot of knowledge workers in the Commission. Most of our staff are knowledge workers. If we can help them work intelligently with the help of machines and data analysis, that's a big step forward. Both in terms of reliability, credibility, and also in terms of staff numbers of the cuts that we have now. Also as an evidence base for the legislation and for policy making of the Commission, to be able to analyze all the data we have, which is huge in an efficient and intelligent way. Another ingredient in this action plan is building the workplace of the future. We have quite a traditional setup. How do we adapt to a new generation and to the technology we have now in terms both of devices and tools and collaboration methods inside the Commission. We're building the data center of the future, so consolidating into 2 big data centers and using cloud to have a hybrid hosting setup. We're also working on security, of course, and classifying which systems should be more secure than others. Where do we need to concentrate our efforts to avert the threats that we have, persistent advanced threats that we have, and we will not get rid of. We're also working on the financing. Surprise, surprise, everybody does. Financing, everybody says, go with the money. You have to follow the money when you want to work with IT. So we're working very, very closely with our budget authority in order to see how can we work on the governance of IT spending to make that efficient. But I also want to come to the e-government action plan and digital single market, which is the more outward-facing aspect. And in the e-government action plan, you probably know all about it, which was launched as part of the second new e-government action plan, was launched under the new digital single market initiative that was launched last year by our Estonian Vice President Andrus Ansip, who we are very proud of because he is driving IT very forcefully inside the Commission as well. Great support. There are 3 policy priorities in the e-government action plan, and that's to modernize public administrations using key digital enablers like technical building blocks, Connecting Europe facility, EID, e-signature, e-delivery, e-procurement. And one of these examples is that under the Connecting Europe facility, the EID building block is supposed to federate all the eIDAS nodes across the member states so that all citizens have access to any member state or Commission application with his or her national ID. We think this is a great opportunity. The other policy priority, second policy priority, is to enable mobility of citizens and businesses by cross-border interoperability. In this context, we're talking about a mandatory interconnection of all member states' business registers by 2017, which will make a big difference. And also, as a third priority, to facilitate digital interaction between administrations and citizens and businesses. And this we are transforming, for example, the Commission is transforming its websites in order to facilitate this interaction as well. In the DSM, there's also strong emphasis on data, and here we can come back to the topic of the day. Open data and interoperability are underlying most of the actions. And as governments and public administrations are a big owner and creator of data, there's a big onus on us to actually open this up so that it can be used in an efficient way for decision-making, forecasting changes and events, and driving innovation and doing business. One concrete example of open data is the Open European Data Portal that aggregates and publishes open data from all member states. Open data is very popular. We have around 300 different open data portals in different member states. If they cannot speak together, we cannot really use them in a wider sense across borders. And here, the European Open Data Portal is an initiative between different parts of the Commission, DG Connect, for example, Publication Office, and worked by the ISA program that is working on interoperability solutions across the member states. If we didn't have a way for these data to talk to each other, and for a multilingual search in the European Data Portal, we would not be able to use the data in the different portals. And this is an action under ISA, the ISA program. I said I would come back to the European Interoperability Framework because I'm now talking about the ISA program. In that program, and that's also one of the actions under the digital single market, the European Interoperability Framework is being revised. And I would like to call on you, all of you who are interested in interoperability, to take part in the public consultation that is open now. It's open until the end of June. And we would very much like to hear your view on the revised version that has been the new proposal for interoperability framework that has been taken forward together with member states, academia, and also standardization organizations. So it's open now. So with that, I come to some conclusions. What we see is that we have to choose our priorities, where we act and how we do it. We have to take decisions to stop doing what is no longer a priority, and that's a very difficult choice in IT, as you know. You start a project, you never end them. And we have loads of examples of big projects that failed and cost huge amounts of money. We have to work much leaner. We have to focus on people. People, people, people. We come back to that all the time. That was the main thing when we were in Silicon Valley as well. People. It all comes back to that. We have to fail or learn fast. That means think big, start small, learn or fail fast. We talk about failing because we want to let people take risks. Encourage them not to be afraid of taking risks. That's why we do talk about fail. It's okay to fail, as long as you learn from it. And be innovative. Innovation is everywhere in an organization, both in the critical sort of key services where it's about keeping the lights on, but also in the modern sexy new stuff where we think we are moving fast forward. For us, this is a very exciting moment in time. We are ready to deliver on many of these issues, and we are really excited about it, very happy about it. So back to my little dog. We actually grabbed the ball, now we're running with it, and we're having fun doing it. But I wanted to end with a little quote from our Estonian Vice President Ansip, again, which I think is appropriate to open this conference. And he says that data is the foundation of our digital future. So with that, I would like to thank you very much for inviting me to open this conference. And I wish you good luck with the conference. Enjoy, have fun, connect.
We take a few questions. Thank you. So, the floor now is actually open to questions, just a few. And to inspire you, well, I'll tell you this way, there will be gifts for those who ask. So, take this opportunity, right?
Can I ask a question?
You can. All right. But before we let you think of it, and if I don't see any hands, one question to you. And so as this is a Nordic Digital Day, and you highlighted so many challenges that you see Commission is facing, on which sort of the challenges you think sort of Nordics could really help you out, and sort of what sort of the excellence that sort of we can bring to the table?
Well, we actually had a full day of visits yesterday here in Estonia, and I was telling Tavi yesterday evening that there is this sort of myth that, yeah, Estonia is great, and they're doing a lot of nice things and new things, but it's not so easy for others to emulate that, because you started from a very particular situation. That is not true. We saw loads of things yesterday that we would like to take up in our work. And I think, well, one example that we said that Tavi was talking about yesterday was no legacy. We have said, yeah, no legacy. We can't do anything about that because we do have our systems and they work. And they don't cost that much anymore. But here you actually have a method to assess when do systems need to be rewritten. So to predict, but going into the prediction phase again, it's not the sort of hit and go. It's having a method to see when we need to act on for example, legacy and other things as well. That's one thing. But I think also the opportunity with the Nordics is that we have very high digital literacy among the population. So here is a good testing ground. This is where we should start really concretely experimenting with exchanging across borders. Because we talk a lot about it, it's very difficult to get there. If we look at the index of e-government across Europe, many member states are very highly digitized, but the cross-border is still lagging behind. And I think the Nordic countries is a good place to actually do something concretely about that, to experiment more. There is this project between Finland and Estonia, and to continue to do more on that basis, to really work cross-border, because there's a population that is ready to take it up, as long as there are interesting services to use.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, does anybody want a gift? All right. All right.
Thank you for that question. That is one of the challenges we're facing, and this is something we're discussing a lot with Vice President Ansip as well. He says, why can't I use my identity card when I come to the Commission and sign? And we still, you're saying very rightly that in many people who actually interact with the Commission needs to sign on paper things. We're working on it. No, we're not ahead yet, but this is the aim of this project as well, to lead by example. And we are, with EID, for example, EID, e-signature, we have a good plan for it now. We have business solution, business case that we are working. The interesting thing is that in the Commission, these things have been driven by IT. They shouldn't be driven by IT. The business owner should be somebody else. We have document management owners, policy owners. So we need to work together with them, and we have to find out where are the bottlenecks. Our biggest bottleneck for the moment, I can tell you, is the certification, the organization of certification of the keys. How do we solve that? Because that's not within our reach. It's another part of the organization, and it's very heavy. But it's a very good question. Thank you for that good question. We're working on it.
All right.
But we're struggling.
All right. Thank you, Gertrud. Thank you.